break us down, searching for light when the world spins round. But in those cracks, the purpose is born, a new way to live when the old is torn. It's more than a story, it's the rise from the fall, a place where your purpose starts to call. With Dr. Stevenson, wisdom takes flight, turning your pain into hope, into light. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire and a flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. From heartbreak to strength, the lessons unfold. It's about how we rise, not the stories we've told. Guests with their journeys, sharing their light. In every collision, there's power in sight. It's more than a talk, it's the wisdom we gain through every struggle, through every pain. With conversations that open the door to purpose, to power, to so much more. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. So come as you are, with your scars and fears. This is the place where the truth appears. Turn your trials into stepping stones. Find the strength to cling your throne. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. A collision with purpose, your journey starts here. In every conversation, we'll wipe away fear. Find your purpose, let your life ignite. With Dr. Stevenson, you'll find your light.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're joining us from. I am Dr. Laxley Stevenson, and welcome to Life-Changing Conversations to Inspire Actions, a space where dialogue is not meant to impress, but to transform. This is where conversations are not passive exchanges, but intentional invitations to grow, to reflect, and to move with purpose. Today's conversation is about growth before elevation, purpose before applause, and leadership before titles. My friends, real leadership is not revealed in moments of comfort. It is forged in moments of responsibility. Our guest understands that growth demands discipline and consistency, that purpose requires alignment, and leadership calls for action long before clarity feels complete. Dr. Joan T. Randall is an ordained elder, multiple award-winning author, international speaker, and visionary founder of You Victorious Press. Her life's work, it's at the intersection of faith, leadership, and legacy. She challenges people not only to believe, but to build, not only to heal, but to lead. Today, we're not here just to listen. We're here to be stretched. Let us begin. Dr. Joan, welcome to Life-Changing Conversations to Inspire Actions.
Thank you, Dr. Laxley. It is an honor to be here. I am so excited to be having this conversation with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Joan. I'm honored to have you here. It's been a while since we been on a platform like this.
Yes, sir. It's been a
How have you
while.
been doing? How have you been doing?
I have been doing amazing. I am in the best space of my life at this time in my life.
Wow,
Yes.
the best place.
Yes.
Now, talking about the best place, what
Mhm.
is your theme for 2026?
So I love that you asked me that question because I have been doing theme of the year since 2018. So it's been a long time. And my theme for 2026 is stewardship. Stewardship over your time, over my time, stewardship over my talent, stewardship over influence, stewardship over purpose, stewardship over resources. So that's my word, my theme for 2026, stewardship. How do I steward the things that I have been given better?
The things that you've been gifted. And I like that you say our time
Mhm.
because that applies to so many people. Yes, it's yours. However, it applies across the board.
Yes.
Yes. So let us, you know, to understand where growth truly begins, we must look back before we can look forward.
Yeah.
When you look back at your journey, Dr. Joan, what moment most clearly revealed what growth was required before elevation?
Wow. So there was a time in my life that I wanted to have control of everything. I wanted to control the narrative of my children. I want to control the narrative of my marriage. I wanted to control the narrative of my job, my career. And because I wanted to control, I was missing elements of growth because you cannot grow if you're always thinking about control. There is no space to grow while you're trying to hold on to everything because then you're tight fisted. And so I realized that I need to let go of control in order to understand the bigger picture so that I can grow into the person that I was called to be and that I knew that I desired to be. So it was letting go of control is one of the things that I recognized that was stunting the growth that I now have.
Hmm. Was there a specific moment during your journey that revealed to you that growth was required before elevation?
Absolutely. Because your mindset has to shift, right? And when it comes on to a growth mindset, that has to be in place before elevation, right? You have to be prepared for the next level. You cannot go into an elevated level with the same mindset that you are in your now level, right? So I recognize that there has to be a level of growth, and I had to think about it first and I had to apply it, and I had to become it so that I could be prepared for the elevation. The Bible tells us that you cannot put new wine into an old wineskin because it's going to destroy it. So you've got to prepare the new wineskin for you to get to the next level. Because when you get there, you're going to be stretched and the old wineskin will break.
Mm. The old will break.
Yes,
Mm.
the old
And
will.
sometimes we need to shed and prune the tree.
Yes,
That is us, right? So,
yes.
so breaking is not always a bad thing, is it?
No,
It's not always a bad thing, right? So,
right.
you're talking about mindset
Yes,
because you and I know that growth is not accidental.
right.
It demands unlearning, and that's part of the pruning, right?
Yeah.
What belief or mindset did you have to release specifically to walk fully into your calling?
So, as much as I was doing things that I thought was positive, there was still a level of unbelief. There was still a level of unbelief, right? There were still things that I wondered if I could accomplish because of some limiting beliefs. And one of those was not having graduated college, right? So, as much as I was doing, Doc, there was always that thing behind the back of my mind that says, if you show up, right, people might say, does she know what she's talking about? She's not college educated. So that was a detractor for me, and I hide it. I covered it up because I'm good at putting my best foot out and my best foot forward. Although I have those negative things sometimes in the back of my mind, and we all get there, right? So I recognize I had to let go of the things that I think would prevent me from being the best of who I am, and recognize that my experience was a greater teacher than me not going to college. And I had to let that go. I had to shed that. And you were a part of me shedding that as well, right? I had to shed that and let it go. I remember a conversation where you specifically said to me, if you don't think that you are deserving of this, you need to go look at yourself in the mirror. That was a wake-up call for me. And I had to shed that.
And you did look in the mirror, didn't you?
I sure did.
And who faced you when you looked in the mirror?
I faced me. I faced me. I faced the me that had the doubt. I faced the me that wondered what people thought about me. I faced the me that was critical of me. I faced the me of shame. There was a level of shame in there as well, right? I faced the me of blame. I faced the me of self-sabotage.
Wow.
And
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, and I was going to say, and it was an eye opener for me, because had you not prompted me with a specific question on my birthday in 2024, I don't know if I would have go look at myself in the mirror like you suggested.
I'm going to move to that question right now. And the question was, of all your gifts, skills, and attributes, which one do you believe serves you best? And that's a question I'm presenting to you again today.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
So the first time I answered that question, I think I said love. I think that was the question that was the way I answered it, because I was thinking that love covers a multitude of things, right? And so because I love, I'm open, I'm forgiving, I am, can be influential, and people are, gravitate towards the influence and all of that stuff, right? What I never understood at that time was that love was only a portion of who I was. I'm going to say of who I was. But the driving force behind Joan was not just love, right? It was discipline. It was the things that I needed to do consistently, day in and day out, in order to show up in a space where I can dominate and not have doubt. And that was a realization that I had when I tried to peel the layers back with that question. Because first of all, that question, it stunned me. And when I gave you an answer, you didn't really accept it, right? Which is what I loved about you, right? You didn't really accept it. And when you asked me to think again and started to talk to me about a book that you read, like everything became clear as crystal. And I started to operate differently in life, in business, in ministry, in all of it.
Well, and we're not saying that love is not important,
Right.
because at the heart of everything that we do is love. And no love more important than self-love.
There you go. Yeah.
But is it doing for you, or was it doing for you what you needed in your life at the time? And clearly the answer was no.
No.
Wow, powerful stuff there. You
Yeah.
know, you talk about discipline and consistency just now. Why are those two things so important? Discipline and consistency so important?
It is the bedrock. It is the foundation of any elevation. And in 2024, I think it was January 2024, I had a conversation with you. I called you and I asked you if you would be my mentor. And you kind of chuckled, right? And you said, well, what are you looking for? What is it do you expect from me as a mentor? And what are you willing to do? And you always ask me questions that I have to think about, right? Because I'm quick on my feet. I'm quick on answering things, right? Sometimes they're surface, right? Because I'm so quick on my feet. But when you ask me questions, I cannot give you surface answers, because you come back with another question, then you come back with another question. And so I'm always having to, be open and to really think about what I'm sharing or how I am responding. But when you asked me, what it is that I needed from you, and what are the things that you would want to do differently, and I said to you that I'm a procrastinator, that I wait on the last minute to do things. And I say that I work well under pressure. So that was always my excuse, right? For procrastination. I work well under pressure. I'm just going to wait till the last minute. I know I have to get it done. I know that there's a time constraint, and it goes back to not steer it in time really well, right? So, and you said to me, you just have to tell yourself you have to get it done, right? You've got to put a timeline, put it on your calendar, write it down. And when that time comes, you have to get it done. So that was where the discipline started, Dr. Laxley. The discipline started because I knew that every time I think about putting it off, I heard your voice saying you have to get it done. And so I oh my God, I got to get it done. And so I did it. And that was the start. 2024 January was when the discipline started to show up in me the way I wanted it. And then with discipline, the next thing that mirrors discipline is being consistent, is doing the thing over and over again to the point where you start to get results. It cannot be a one and done. Discipline is one thing, but if you don't have the consistency, the discipline is washed out, because it means I'm disciplined to get this done. But what do I do when I get this done, right? How do I do it over and over again? How do I show up for me, for the people I'm called to serve, and for my business consistently so that I'm getting results? And so discipline and commitment and consistency all started for me in a very defined and profound and intentional way when I asked you to be my mentor.
Wow. So, Dr. Joan, growth continues, right?
Yes.
We all know that. And you're an influencer. You influence many.
Yes.
But so does your responsibility.
Yes.
As well. Now, how do you remain teachable and committed to growth as your leadership and influence increase?
Because I realized that the world is a school, and I realized that I don't know everything. And I realized that I can learn from someone older, someone younger, and someone that is completely different from me, different background, different religion, different ethnicity. So I am open to always learning. I want to always learn. And It excites me. Learning excites me. And so, because I am a sponge for learning, I am curious. I have this curiosity and I am inquisitive about wanting to know. And that leads me to always want to continue to learn, continue to grow. And as I'm learning, I want to teach others. I want others to know what I am learning. And so that's where that influence comes into play.
You know, I am big on curiosity, and I think that is what is lacking in so many of us. As we grow and believe we know what we need to know,
Right.
as we become older, not
Yeah.
old, but older, we sort of drop and slack off where curiosity is concerned. And I think that is something that we need to pay attention to, all of us.
Yeah.
We can't be curious enough. We need to be less accepting of
Yeah.
what is shared, what is presented to us. Now, let's move to how growth shapes us internally. But we also must be mindful that purpose is what gives that growth direction, right? So, at what point did you realize your purpose was not just about what you do, but about what you are or who you're becoming?
Yeah. I have to be honest that I did not know what my purpose was for a long time. I never thought about it at all. And now I know it showed up when I was a child. It's always there. It's always been there. I just never tapped into it. But I do realize that when you walk and live your purpose, you become it, right? There is no separation between Joan and the purpose of Joan is the purpose. See, purpose is a seed, right? And when you have a seed, it has to be nurtured and watered and pruned and taken care of and disciplined, right? And be committed and be consistent. And once you recognize that you are the purpose and that what you bring to the world, what you bring to the table is going to impact somebody else's life, you no longer look at it as this is selfish Joan. This is no longer just about me. It's not about ownership, but it's about stewardship.
Mm,
I don't necessarily own it. I'm stewarding it
mm.
for legacy's sake.
Back to where we started, right? Your
Yes,
theme,
sir.
stewardship. Now, let's talk a little bit about alignment.
Uh-huh.
Because when our purpose is clear, our
Mm.
decisions become clearer, right?
Yeah.
And we must also understand that not every opportunity is an assignment in our lives.
Right.
How do you, Dr. Joan, discern the difference between a good opportunity
Mhm.
and a purpose aligned assignment?
Yeah. So I look at the opportunities, Dr. Laxley, and I try to understand what is going to be the outcome for this opportunity. And does this opportunity aligns with my core values and my belief system? And if I spend time executing or working on this opportunity, what is going to be the return on this investment? And if the return on this investment is only for me, then it's not a good opportunity.
Mm.
Because every time I put my purpose into something, the return on the investment has to benefit others. If it's not benefiting others, it is not aligned with my purpose at all. So that's how I determine and distinguish what am I going to put my efforts towards and which would be a great opportunity and what is not going to be a good opportunity because it does not align with my core values, which is love, which is learn, which is lead, and which is legacy. So if it's not, conducive to what my 4 core values are, that is not an opportunity for me.
Let's talk about your work as a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Share with our audience what you do as a publisher and how is that changing lives.
So I help um, women and men write and publish best-selling books. But it's not just to write and publish a book that sits on a shelf, right? Is how does it impact their lives? How does it shape their legacy? And how they can use that book to build multiple streams of income and change the next person's life the same way I changed their lives. And what I realize about the publishing industry, it can be a one and done. I can publish your book and that's it. It's done, right? But I want people who come through Victorious You Press to understand that a book is the bottom rung of the ladder. It doesn't stop there, right? It is this entity that creates this opportunity for you to grow. And so from a book, programs can be started. From a book, you can start doing workshops and events and create missions and ministry and legacy for who you're leaving behind. But it's also a bridge to those that want what you have but don't know how to get it. And so that's what Victorious You Press is. It is a bridge builder more than even a publishing company. And to be honest with you, I could just be closed-minded or own like the publishing business and not sharing it with anybody else. But I decided in 2025 that I wanted to share what I know about publishing. And so I created this cohort. And what the cohort is, Dr. Laxley, is helping people who desire to write multiple books to understand the publishing process the right way, right? It's not just to self-publish because you want your book on Amazon, but how do you do it to the national standard so that you can self-publish your own book and walk into a bookstore and they put your books on a shelf because the standard of excellence in which the book is done is worthy of a bookstore. And so again, it goes back to ownership versus stewardship. I don't want to own publishing, right? I want to be able to learn it in a way that I can now rinse and repeat what I've done, give the blueprint to others so that they can do it too.
Awesome. And I should say that me as an author, it all started with you and your publishing company. And what can I say?
Thank you.
What can I say? There's nothing else to say, right? No caption needed there. So you are also an author yourself.
Yes.
And a speaker. So let's talk about some of your work as an author.
Yeah. So my 18th book is coming out. And that book is the self-publishing process for entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, and people who just have great expertise and want to put that in a book. So that's coming out because from the 3 cohorts, I have an incredible blueprint in which to give the world about this whole self-publishing process, right? So that's coming out in February of this year. That's my 18th book. And I've written several books. A lot of it is motivational, inspirational, more journal type. And of course, I wrote my memoir in 2020 that speaks to my journey through domestic violence and how I was able to overcome that. Writing for me has been the breath of God. Writing for me has been the breath of God. I think that's why I survived domestic violence. That's why I survived a stint with homelessness. That's why I survived, because I love to write things down. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says, write the vision and make it plain so that others can get it and run with it, right? Which means that as you are journeying through this life, you should be leaving blueprints. You should be leaving your footprints. You should be leaving the standard operating procedure for others to follow, right? That's legacy. That's stewardship. It's not owning it, but it's creating opportunities for others. So when you ask about me being an author, writing is truly what has saved my life. And I don't want to deviate from your question that you asked me, but every conversation you and I have had, I've always right.
It's interesting because that was my next question. Well, it wasn't so much a question, but I was going to make that point that we have had many conversations, and at the end of every conversation, you're able to replay it back by reading
Yep.
it to me, what we talk about, which I believe that is so important, and more of us needs to really focus and lean in there and do more of that. And where did you develop that habit? Because they say habits forms our identity, so that is who you are.
Yeah, that is who
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
because I've always right. To be honest, this is going to shock you. And I never thought about it. And thank you for asking me that question because now I thought when I was going through my domestic violence situation, when I was in it, I was writing every day. That's where it started. I feel like maybe I've always, but I can't remember to the magnitude of writing things as much as I remember back then. Even my book, Bags in the Attic, that was written, I don't know, 15 years before that book came out, but it was in a journal. So I was able, Dr. Laxley, to go through a journal when I
Mm,
was with my abusive husband, and the whole journal is the book. And I know if I wasn't writing what was happening daily to me in that journal, I would not have remembered all the things because when I was going through the journal to write my book, I did not recognize some of the things.
mm,
My mind had blocked out some of the so if I wasn't writing, I wouldn't have the content for the book because I would not remember some of the things. But I developed that habit then. Also, I'm a tactile learner. I have to hear it, I have to see it, but
mhm.
I also have to make a note. And it's when I write, it sticks in my head, right? Some people can see and remember, some people can hear and remember. Joan T. Randall, I have to see it, I have to hear it, and I have to write it. And then the minute I write it, I could close my eyes and visually see what I wrote. That's how I remember it because I close my eyes and I say, oh, this is what I wrote on the paper. So when I'm talking to wisdom and knowledge, which is you, Dr. Laxley, do you think that conversation will ever go into the wind and I am not taking notes? I'm always taking notes when you talk because I know that when I have so much, oh my God, because I know that when the conversation is done, I am going to be better after having that conversation with you because there's some wisdom that I've taken away. Not only have I taken away the wisdom you have given me, but I've executed on them.
And I'm so happy that you said executed because implementation is so important. We're of the mindset, and I don't want to say belief, but we tend to want to believe that belief is enough. But if
Yeah.
you cannot turn your words, what you believe, into actions, you're stuck.
Yeah.
That is not a growth mindset. That is a fixed mindset. But Joan, I've always been amazed when at the end of our conversations, you're able to play it back and repeat it to me. Sometimes I ask myself, did I say that? Because often, we're talking and we're not thinking because it's coming. It's just flowing out of you. And you don't even realize sometimes what you're saying and the,
Yeah.
and the impact it's having. And I've always been amazed. I know we have had many conversations and talk about different things. But one thing I will say, you are one who knows how to execute. We've talked about books, good books to read. And before the conversation is over, you show me a picture or photo that you ordered it.
Yes.
And I'm not here to promote any books, except if it's yours or mine. So we're
Yeah.
not call them out because we're
Right.
not in that business. We promote
Right.
work, right? So,
Yeah.
but there are good books out there, and you can use them, and to do great things, and you have certainly done that, and I really commend you for that. You and another conversation we had, and I know you've taken on a new business.
Yes.
You are a real estate professional.
Yes, sir.
And again, we had a conversation, and you might want to talk about it. You tell me if you do.
Yes, I want to talk about it. Okay. I want to talk about why I am here today, right? Because when I asked you that question in January of 2024 about being my mentor, and I told you about my procrastination, and you told me that I needed to just be disciplined, right? Be disciplined about your schedule, your plans, what you needed to do. And I took that serious and I took it to heart. July of that year, it was July 2024, it was my birthday, and you interviewed me on my own program, and you asked me the question that you asked me earlier. And I told you I had to go look at myself in the mirror because I didn't like the answer I gave you. In that conversation, we were talking about a specific book. And before the conversation was over, I had already bought the book. And I showed you on my phone and I said, Doc, look, I got the book, right? That book was a game changer because that book was not only talking about business, it was talking about leadership, but it was talking about self first. Like, who are you? Self first, how do you see yourself in business? Are you a practitioner? Like, are you just practicing? Are you just like working in the business, or are you working on the business? And you and I used to have some of those conversations all the time, right? But that book changed my life in an elevated way. And as a result of that, I ended up doing a session at not Duke. What is the place? Is it Duke? It wasn't Duke. It was the university in, why am I drawing a blank right now?
Was it Brown?
No, it wasn't Brown. It was, I did their, anyway, it'll come to me. I even have their t-shirts, but I ended up doing their entrepreneurship leadership program there. And then right after that, I was recognized and honored with my honorary doctorate. This is all in the same year. This is after me and you had that conversation, July 23rd, 2024. That October, I got my honorary doctorate. That December, we were still having conversation, right? And in that conversation, real estate came up. And you said to me, you have the skill set. This is something that because I was talking to you about my business and life and all the things. And you said, I could see you doing real estate. I could see you doing that. That would be a great next thing, right? That was December 2024. And I don't even know if you knew that I had gotten off the call with you, went online, found a real estate school, and paid for real estate classes. The classes started in February 2025. I did my however many weeks that I needed to do. I took my real estate test in April of 2025 and passed it. And got my license to be a broker in the state of North Carolina, right? So maybe you just said it to me, but I took it and I ran with it, right? And I got it executed in silent. Nobody knew I was doing this, right? So I executed it in silent. I took the class in secret. And then when I got my license was the first time I said to the world, hey, I'm now licensed, right? So behind the scene, I was executing the very same seed that you planted in me, right? And everybody says it takes a year to get your first deal because you got to learn and got to understand all the things about real estate. And yes, it was a serious type of transition, right? I was still working, doing my ministry. I was still doing my publishing doc. I never let that go. But I found this other thing. And I closed on my first deal on December 29th. And on December 31st, my commission check was in my account. And I have 2 other exclusive agreements already for 2026.
All right. Congratulations on your closing.
Yes, sir.
That's powerful. You know, I like that you said that you continue to do your publishing and all the other things that you're doing. Because when I made that suggestion that this would be a good business for you, that is the real estate business, I didn't see it as something new or different. I saw it as just a continuation of what you're already doing.
Yes.
And that's what we need to understand, that when you are in alignment with your life, with yourself, then many things are possible. All things are possible, and it's no additional work. It's not extra work because it is a continuation.
Yeah.
You're just taking on, you're moving yourself from just moving products in and out of your lives. That's all you're doing. And that is what you did so well. And that is why it was done with ease, in harmony with everything else that you're doing. So again, congratulations. That's a big deal there, big stuff. And you will do many, 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 many more.
Yep.
So if anyone who's out there listening, don't be stuck and fixed and believe this is all I can do.
Yeah.
Because chances are you're already doing the work. You just need to apply it to other things. All right. So, you know, Dr. Joan T. Randall, right? Many people struggle because they lack, not because they lack calling, but because they are navigating waiting seasons.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who feels called but discouraged by delay or slow progress?
Yeah. So honestly, if you know you're called, then you have to take an action. Mm-hmm. You cannot wait. You cannot wait to be given something. If you know deep down that there's a calling on your life, that you have some skills and some treasures and some knowledge, some lived or learned experiences, and you feel like things are not where they want to be, I would look at myself in the mirror. I would wonder, I would say to myself, what is stopping me from getting to where I want to go? 90% of the time, it is us. 90% of the time, we are the ones that are stopping ourselves. And just like how when I spoke to you in 2024, that procrastination thing is wicked. And sometimes things are slow because we're waiting. We're waiting for the right moment. We're waiting for the right scenario. We're waiting for the right, environment. I can't write my book because I don't have a title yet. Write the book if you know it. The title will come later. I can't start a business because I don't have an LLC. Start the business. The LLC can be registered later, right? I cannot go back to school because I don't know how to get loans. Go search. There are things out there. There's Google. There is Chat GPT. We have those resources available to us. But if you are not getting to where you want to get to because you're waiting for something, you're going to continue to wait and it's not going to happen. You got to put one foot in front of the other. You got to make a step. You got to tell yourself, I'm doing this. You're going to manifest it. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I want to be able to close 3 deals this year or 6 deals this year, or I want to do X. Dr. Lax, to be honest with you, in October of last year, I told myself what I wanted. I said, I need 2 real estate deal and I need 3 publishing contracts. This was October, right? Because I know everybody said, oh, you know, there's 60 days or 90 days before the end of the year. I wasn't looking at that. I'm looking at, I have 60 days to make some things happen. I'm not thinking about 2026 in October, even December. When December came, what can I get done in these 31 days? That was all I was focused on. And Doc, not only did I have a close-in, I got 2 contracts right now that I'm getting ready to for real estate. And I got 3 publishing contracts under my belt between November and December. The very things that I wanted to happen happened. Why? Because I put it on paper. I had the discipline to go after it in a specific kind of way, and it happened for me. It's the power of your words. It's the power of your thoughts. It's the power of your discipline. It's the power of your commitment. And it's the power of believing in you, because nobody else is going to believe in you. But if you know you have that calling, and you know you have that, that oil, that I don't know, that special thing, you can't wait to execute it. You have got to do it one step at a time, 1 foot in front of the other, one action plan at a time. Even if it's to Google something, it's 1 step further than where you were, but you own that. You own it.
1 step further. And remember that growth is not accidental.
Right.
It's by design. All right. So let's pivot let's talk about leadership.
Yeah.
Because purpose will eventually bring us into leadership, whether we seek it or not.
Right.
What inner work must leaders commit to before they are truly ready to lead others?
Self-leadership. How you lead you. That's one of the most important things. And I'm not here to promote a book, but Dr. John wrote an amazing book about the whole leadership process, but self-leadership first. Can I lead me? Right? Because if I cannot lead me, how am I going to lead anybody else? Right? What is the work that I need to do internally to lead me? How do I go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? How do I get the discipline I need to make sure I'm putting things in place and I'm following up and I'm following through and I'm doing all the steps I need to lead me? Right? And so the very first thing is leading self before leading anybody else, right? What does that look like? Who am I? What is it I want to accomplish? How is this going to help others? And how do I lead from behind? Because you don't have to always be in front, right? Great leaders lead from behind. I'm coming behind you and I'm going to push you. That's what you did with me. I'm going to come behind you. I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to give you some suggestions. I'm going to give you some words of wisdom. I expect you to write it so that you can follow up later. And I'm going to stay behind and I'm going to push you into it, right? That's how you lead self first. And then you lead from behind. You're pushing people into their purpose, into their work, into the bridge building.
Into the bridge building. For the entire month of December, I probably did about 20 something videos. And they were all about self-leadership. Every single one of them were about self-leadership. So self-leadership is important. If you can't lead yourself, if you can't love yourself, if you can't practice self-love, it is very difficult to do it for others.
Yeah.
Very challenging. So let's talk about the importance of mentoring or mentorship.
Yes.
How
Let's talk
important,
about that.
how important is it to have mentors in your life?
So I will tell you this, that it is extremely important. And Dr. Laxley, in the last, I'm going to say, year and a half, my life has completely changed because of you being my mentor. Um, some of these things, I don't know if I would have thought of them, right? When I bought that book about leadership, did I know that I was going to write a curriculum for the Boost Pad just because of a book that was suggested to me and how I need to look internally at how, I operate, right? And because of that, um, because of your mentorship, because of the conversation, because of the redirection, because you have a way of redirecting. Like, you'll ask a question, I'll give you an answer. You ask another question, and it was a redirection, and it made me curious. It made me want to learn more. It made me want to know more. Had you not shared what you shared about knowledge in terms of leadership, I wouldn't have bought that book. I wouldn't have seen myself in the book. I wouldn't have recognized that, wait a minute, I'm operating out of alignment, right? And so that's what mentorship does. And I'm so happy to have you in my life, because now I have two mentees, because it's all about paying it forward, right? What you helped me to uncover, what you helped me to realize and to recognize, the things that I have put in place since last year, and the results I'm seeing now, the level of success I'm achieving now, and success looks different for everyone, right? The level of elevation I have now is as a result of your mentorship. And so, again, when you talk about stewardship, it's my responsibility now, because you use that word as well, right? It's my responsibility now to pay that forward and mentor others.
And mentor others. I thank you for your kind, and you've always been very generous in sharing, and I've not always received it well.
No, no.
Often we don't realize the impact and how we're affecting other people.
Yeah,
And, when it's negative, it jumps out, right?
yeah,
It's very obvious and it's very clear. But when it's positive, we keep it moving. We tend not to look back. But I really appreciate you saying that. But mentoring is very important, and we all need mentors in our lives. And one thing I want to say about it, it doesn't have to be a person.
mhm,
It can be a book that you use, or
yeah,
any number of things, right?
yeah,
You can, and we're not talking about just to get inspiration and motivation, because those tend to fade
mm,
fast,
leading.
right? So you can use that initial inspiration or motivation from whatever. But what I will say about you, Dr. Joan, yours is about application implementation.
Yeah.
Because no matter what anyone suggests to anyone, it,
Mm,
if it falls on, if it's temporary or just fall, it's received in a temporary way and not acted on,
yeah.
just words. It's just words. And what I will say about you, you have this thing about you. One of your strengths is you do something with the information, you act on it, and
Yeah.
you make it work for you. And by it working for you, naturally it will work for others as well, because you'll pass it on, like you said. So, what leadership lesson in your life was shaped more by failure than by success? Because it comes from different directions, right?
Yeah. Um, hmm. That's a very good question. One of those questions that is like, okay, how is this answer going to be? Um, I would say that I have failed in the past at self leadership, completely failed in the past of self leadership. At the beginning of this program, I told you about control. Like I was obsessed with control. Like I wanted to control situations, the narrative, the results, the outcomes. That is not self leadership at all by any means. That is a poverty mindset. That
Mm,
is a mindset that has no success strategy, no growth strategy, because you want to just control and you want to, hold it on, like ball it up in a fist. And because I failed so many times with this control kind of person that I was, I learned from those things.
mm,
I learned from my own self leadership failure. Um, didn't want to share what I know with others, like because in my head, poverty mindset in my head, they're going to take it and steal. They're going to steal it,
mm,
right? They're going to become better at it than I
mm,
am. So, having failed at leading self in a way that inspires growth, it's nice to go back and look at yourself and tell yourself the truth. You know what I mean? It's the most amazing thing to say, man, Joan, you were stubborn, you were controlling, you're a procrastinator. That's telling yourself the truth.
mm.
And knowing that now, to get to the next level, those things got to go. Bye bye.
You gotta go, and they're gone. They're gone. So, Joan, we have been having this conversation, but we have yet to acknowledge those who joined us.
Ooh,
Is there anything you want to say to anyone out there who's watching us?
um,
We, we have had quite a few people join and all
yeah,
kinds of comments, but we've been so caught up in our conversation that we fail to acknowledge them.
yeah. So the one thing that I would love to share with anybody that's listening is number one is to believe in yourself, right? You have to believe in you and show up for you and lead you, fix you first, right? Because if you are empty, you cannot pour. If you are empty, you cannot give. If you are empty, you cannot steward, right? So fill your cup first, love on you first, give you all the knowledge and the tools that you need. Sometimes it might be to go get a mentor. Sometimes it may be to go study some more, to go read a book on leadership, to read a book on the things that you want to be better at, and just fill yourself with the things that are going to allow you to elevate you. But it starts with you. Starts with you.
In the mirror, right? With that person in the mirror. So, Dr. John, we're coming close to wrapping up. And I
Yes.
know all of what we've been talking about brings us to action, right?
Yes.
We talk about faith is a big part of your life,
Oh,
and leadership is also huge in your life.
yeah.
But none of those things were meant to remain theoretical,
Right.
right? So, how does faith move from belief to discipline and everyday actions in your life?
It's action. Faith is a verb, right? Faith
Mhm,
is not something that you just say, I have faith. That's empty,
mhm,
right? Faith is action, right? My faith shows up in what I do.
mhm,
So, because it is an action word, I have to take action. I have to implement. I have to do the work. I have to write the book. I have to do that Facebook Live, right? I have to go learn and get that real estate license. I have to go find the clients and sell that house.
mhm.
That's faith.
That is it in a nutshell. Now, as we get ready to wrap up again, Dr. Joan, here's what I call the quick fire segment.
Uh-huh.
So let's close with a few quick reflections, short answers, but powerful truths, right?
Okay, let's
Gro-
go.
Growth or comfort? Which must a leader choose daily?
Definitely growth.
All right. Purpose or popularity? Which is more dangerous?
Dangerous is popularity.
Discipline or motivation, which sustains leadership long term?
Discipline all the way around.
Discipline all the way. And I should disclose that my theme for 2026 is discipline and consistency. And you will hear more about that. All right. So, Dr. Joan, we're on the hour.
Yes, sir.
So, as we close, here's the question that should stay with us long after this conversation is over.
Yeah.
What happens when clarity meets courage, but action is delayed?
Ooh, nothing gets done.
That is the question, and that is the answer. All right. So, growth does not respond to intention alone. Purpose does not mature without discipline. Leadership is revealed not by what we know, but by what we consistently do. Dr. Joan, you want to say something before we go?
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to talk with you. I've wanted the world to hear how much you have impacted my life. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Wow. You make it difficult for me to talk, but I truly appreciate that, So let me say what you heard. I'm talking to whoever is watching this live or will watch later. What you heard today from Dr. Joan T. Randall is not just wisdom to admire. It is about responsibility to carry. Awareness without action, we know, becomes stagnation.
Yeah.
And calling without movement becomes frustration. We've heard a little bit of that from Dr. Joan a few years ago when she had a lot going on and doing things, but awareness came to her, but she acted on it. So it was no longer frustration. So before we go, I want to sincerely say thank you, Elder Dr. Joan T. Randall, for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and how you've lived leadership. Dr. Joan, your voice on your journey reminds us that growth requires courage.
Yes.
That purpose requires alignment, and that leadership demands action. And again, this is why this space exists. Life-changing conversation. It is to inspire actions. It is not about passive listening, passive life. It is about purposeful movement. So, Dr. Joan, thanks again. I appreciate you for coming on. Short notice, as always, but you're on. And what a powerful conversation. Your journey through life speaks volume and is a life changer for many. So I support and encourage you, and I just continue doing what you do. Just do more of it.
Yes,
right?
sir. Thank
Do
you.
more of it. I know you have a lot going on and you didn't talk about all that you do today, but that's okay.
Yep.
It's more important to do it than talk about it anyway.
Yes.
Right. So to anyone watching, I just want to tell you that I'm inviting you to join me again next week for another episode of Life-Changing Conversations to Inspire Action, where we will continue to challenge perspectives, deepen purpose, and call one another to meaningful action. Dr. Joan, you have the last word.
Last word is do it because you can.
Just do it because you can.
That's it.
We've all had moments that break us down, searching for light when the world spins round. But in those cracks, the purpose is born, a new way to live when the old is torn. It's more than a story, it's the rise from the fall, a place where your purpose starts to call. With Dr. Stevenson, wisdom takes flight, turning your pain into hope, into light. Collide with Every story's got a fire and a flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. From heartbreak to strength, the lessons unfold. It's about how we rise, not the stories we've told. Guests with their journeys, sharing their light. In every collision, there's power in sight. It's more than a talk, it's the wisdom we gain. Through every struggle, through every pain. With conversations that open the door to purpose, to power, to so much more. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. So come as you are, with your scars and fears. This is the place where the truth appears. Turn your trials into stepping stones. Find the strength to claim your throne. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. A collision with purpose, your journey starts here. In every conversation, we'll wipe away fear. Find your purpose, let your life ignite.